folks. That was a sprightly way to start the program today. That is the music from Aunt Sally. It was a Cecily Courtnidge comedy, which came out in 1933. In this instance, we heard Louis Levy and the Gourmand British Studio Orchestra. I was hoping to hear Janet Lynn, but I realised that precedes her time there. She joined in about 1936, but that's an early recording of Louis Levy and the orchestra there, courtesy of a wonderful series, Guild Light Muzak series of CDs. There's about 50 of them here, courtesy of Mr. J, who very kindly bestowed them on to this program so that we can enjoy light music classics ab nauseum. I'm going to try and play a couple of tracks from these CDs regularly if I can. That's the plan. Anyhow, we are slowly getting organised, and yeah, as people may be aware, I'm COVID struck, so I'm sort of out of the loop with the fam and everyone else, sort of in my own isolation bubble. And but hopefully tomorrow I can sort of start merging a bit more. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Now, I realise that Frank is, I think it's Frank's wife's birthday today, I think, so he may be busy. We'll wait and see if he turns up. If he does, we'll play some more Red Angle. I found some fabulous records out there. But we'll start off with something from the early 30s, this instance. It's a record. It's a little bit close to my heart. A copy of it just floated out of the stack and levitated onto the turntable. It's a recording of Leslie Holmes and his orchestra. And Leslie Holmes was a sort of vaudeville English singer. And this record, I remember picking up this record when I was in primary school, and I learned all the lyrics by memory, and a friend and I used to sing it together when I was in primary school, so it's sort of got strong connections, and I think it'll be fun to play. It's two sides of a 10-inch record, and yeah, it's a good fun disc. I like the lyrics, actually. They're good and wholesome and crazy and all of that, so I think we are in sync. Let's have to check systems here. Back to 1932. I'm vk3sl. Test missions.
He shouted, "Man, the rats! With chains and a rope you can bind them." The bosun searched both fore and aft, but dashed if he could find them. At the mercy of that raging sea was the good ship Nancy Lee. They struggled on against the storm. The cold, cold wind was far from warm.
Now, I'm going to break there because I realise I got the wrong side on. We came in halfway through the story. So I'll flip the record and we'll start from the very beginning so you can hear the tale of the Nancy Lee.
Yo-ho, me lads, yo-ho, I'll tell you the tale of a sailor who sailed the Bay of Biscay-o as a captain of a whaler. Of his gallant deed you all should know. Yo-ho, me lads, yo-ho, I'll tell the tale of the Nancy Lee, the ship that got shipwrecked at sea. The bravest man was Captain Brown, for he played his ukulele as the ship went down. All the crew were in despair. Some rushed here and the others rushed there, but the captain sat in the captain's chair and he played his ukulele as the ship went down. The owner wireless to the crew, do the best that you can do. She's only insured for £5,000, so I'll be out of pocket if the ship goes down. The captain answered, "Holy gee, it's all up with a Nancy Lee. You're all right, but what about me? I shall wet me ukulele when the ship goes down." News at the Admiralty, they wireless to the Nancy Lee. We'd like to speak to Captain Brown if he isn't very busy when the ship goes down. The captain answered, "What to do?" The Admiralty said, "At 2:30 we shall all be listening in to you as you play a ukulele when the ship goes down." The pets on board were all scared stiff. The cat meowed and the monkey sniffed. The old green parrot hung upside down, saying, "Scratch your ball, Polly," as the ship went down. The crow's nest fell and it killed the crow. The starboard watch was 2 hours slow, but the captain sang bo-do-de-o-do as he played his ukulele when the ship went down. An Irishman said, "Begorra, I'll fight the very first man that comes in sight." "You can't do that," said Captain Brown. "You'll have to box the compass as the ship goes down." The skipper issued from the store a cake of soap to every 4 and said, "Now wash yourselves ashore while I play me ukulele as the ship goes down." "Have faith in me," the captain cried. To this remark the crew replied, "You can trust us, Captain Brown, to finish up the rum before the ship goes down." The skipper shouted, "No back chat, I'll do my best, and after that, do you mind if I pass round the head as I play me ukulele when the ship goes down?" The skipper shouted fore and aft, "I'll have no slackers aboard this craft." "So understand," said Captain Brown, "I want everybody present when the ship goes down." The cook's gone mad and the bosun's lame, the rudder has gone and the deck's aflame. My G-string's flat but all the same, I shall play me ukulele when the ship goes down.
Okay, folks, we're going to hear side 2. I'm going to flip the disc. We'll hear the rest.
Hi.
Hello there, Frank. I'm just going to play side 2.
Sorry I'm late. I know. You go ahead.
No worries. We've got to hear the story of the Nancy Lee.
He shouted, "Man the rafts, with chains and a rope you can bind them." The bosun searched both fore and aft, but dashed if he could find them. At the mercy of that raging sea was the good ship Nancy Lee. They struggled on against the storm, the cold, cold wind was far from warm. So all the crew and Captain Brown played ring-a-ring-a-rosy till the ship fell down. They shouted, "Women and children first." The engineer came up and cursed, then all of a sudden his boiler burst. He played his ukulele as the ship went down. The captain's wife was on the ship, and he was glad she'd made the trip. As she could swim, she might not drown, so he tied her to the anchor as the ship went down. They sprung a leak just after dark, and through the hole came a hungry shark. It bit the skipper near the water mark, so he played his ukulele as the ship went down. He had sailed the sea, they say, for 22 years come Pancake Day. So it's no wonder Captain Brown wished he was in the army when the ship went down. He played the part of a bold A.B. He played the game on land and sea, but this was the very first time that he had played his ukulele as the ship went down. When they reached the lifeboat, how they cursed. The second mate had got there first. The cook said, "Aye, I'll be the last to drown, 'cause I'm climbing up the rigging as the ship goes down." Soon it was a total wreck. The captain stood on the burning deck. The flames leapt up all around his neck and burnt his ukulele as the ship went down. The mate said, "It shall tie with me. The shipwreck suits me to a T. I owe 10 bob to Captain Brown, and I'll never have to pay him if the ship goes down." The pessimistic cook said he was sure the crew very soon would be playing a harp. Said Brown, "Not me. I shall play my ukulele as the ship goes down." The mate had a razorphone, the cook had a trombone, the drummer had an old tin, another had a violin, the bosun had a banjo, the stoker had a piccolo. "You can play what you like," said Captain Brown. "I shall play me ukulele as the ship goes down." And this is the tale of the Nancy Lee, the ship that got shipwrecked at sea, and Captain Brown, who was in command, now plays his ukulele in the Mermaid's Band.
There we go. The Story of the Nancy Lee, recorded by Leslie Holmes back in 1932 on a Regal 78. So I thought that was a fun way to start the program, and that's a song that I remember so well. I know every word of that song. I was singing along here. Thank God the microphone was off. But yeah, it's got a personal resonance. I remember back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, maybe. No, it was in the 70s possibly. Yes, as a kid, we had this special train trip, a primary school train trip, and we where it was called the Train of Knowledge, and it went throughout rural Victoria, and it used one of those Edwardian carriages. I think it was actually steam train driven. And it was a special education train. So it was like a school camp where you'd stay on the train and the sleepers and these wonderful opulent carriages from ages ago, and stop off at country towns and get to explore them and just have this marvellous train trip. And it was very memorable. I think it was in grade 5 in primary school, so it would have been the 70s for me. Anyhow, I remember a friend and I memorised all the words of that song.
Oh, no.
And we had a little sort of an evening where on the train where we'd all cram into one of the sort of one of the carriages where it's like a dining carriage, and everyone did a little bit of a cabaret act or sang a song, and most of them sang ABBA and stuff like that. And yes, Glenn and I sang the this song here, and he had his ukulele. So
that's a lot to remember.
Yeah, I don't think we did it all. We did a few. We did a bit of it.
A few of the main verse.
Yeah, we picked a couple.
Carry the story.
We carried the story, and it was a memorable experience. I remember on that trip, I was accumulating 78s because every time we stopped in a town, all the kids would go for the lolly shop, and I was only 10, 11, and I'd go straight to the second-hand shops and come back, and I came back with a big stack of 78s, whereas all the kids came back with their little souvenirs and things.
Lollies and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. So
you had your priorities right.
I did, Frank. Yes. So that song was that record was one of the discs that that had a strong formative connection. Yeah.
Sorry, I was late. I was listening to a Bach violin concerto on the ABC.
On the ABC.
Yes, they got their Baroque program on Saturday.
Okay, what was the tempo like? Did I ask?
It was an older version. It was lovely.
Oh, good.
It was lovely.
Good.
Yes,
I like to hear them at a stately tempo.
I know. Well, this recognised what a...
Yeah.
Actually, she did a big spiel on Tognetti.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Who is quoted as saying that Bach is the basis of all of music ever since him. He is everything he composed contains genius.
Oh, look, I totally agree in every sense.
That's right.
Absolutely. Wise words.
Wise words.
Yeah, and happy birthday to Kathy today.
Yeah, thank you. I shall pass that on. She's had a very nice day. We had the family for lunch.
Oh, very good. Excellent. I'm pleased. It's nice to hear. If I had my cello with me, I'm not allowed in the house at the moment.
No, I can understand.
I'm still in isolation. I'm living in the caravan, and I've got this room at the back of the garage and the caravan, and I can't sort of enter the fold. So
can you talk to them?
I can talk to them through the glass, which is a little bit sort of annoying. But
a bit of an intercom-y thing.
I know, it would be easier. We tried FaceTiming. We had a bit of a chat yesterday, but I'm a little bit jealous because I just missing the family vibe.
Well, you do, I know. I used to miss it when I would go away, even for a couple of days. I would be quite homesick. Anyway, that's another story.
No, look, I understand that. And being so close but so far is a tricky one, and it's a symptom of this whole COVID-y thing. And
how are you feeling?
Oh, look, I'm all right. I picked up a lot today. I didn't have a very good night last night. I was very feverish last night. But I think I'm a lot better. But the unfortunate thing is that Beatrice has now got COVID. So we're isolating in 2 places in the house, and poor Kate's run off her feet trying to meet everyone's needs. So
absolutely amazing.
It's not an easy sort of dynamic at the moment. So we're just trying to sort of do the best we can. But I'm stuck out here. I can't help. So, and Celia's sick, and so she'll probably get it. Olivia's just tested; she's feeling a bug. So Henry is keeping clear of the house because he's got his very big concert tomorrow. He's got his last concert with the orchestra at the conservatorium because he graduates this year.
Oh, yes.
So this is his honours year this year. So this is the last one.
Superb.
And yeah, so
What's
he's
he playing.
Oh, they're playing Shostakovich 5.
I know of it.
Oh, it's an amazing symphony. It's so rich and it's a huge brass section, and they've been rehearsing a lot. And the concert's at the Hamer Hall, and the Hamer Hall's booked out.
Oh boy!
I mean, that's 3,000 seats.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's huge, and so we're going along. Well, I'll be out of isolation by tomorrow.
Yes.
And Kate hasn't got COVID so far. Touch wood. So we both can meet there.
Yes,
and
yes.
so that'll be it's a bit ridiculous, really. But yes, well, so Henry's sort of keeping clear of things. He's just desperate not to get it because
of course he cannot possibly miss it.
No, he can't. So that's a special one tomorrow. And they're also playing the Dvorak Cello Concerto tomorrow.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, there's a very talented young cellist at the con. Well, you heard Alex is also another talented cellist who's just graduated, and he's now in San Francisco doing really well.
Yes, he was the most interesting.
Yeah. And there's another cellist of similar standard, and he's graduating this year, and he's doing the Dvorak with the orchestra in the concert tomorrow at Hamer Hall, which is a massive undertaking. I mean, totally astonishing. So, this guy has already got a job with the Chicago Symphony. He's shortlisted for the final round of a cello position in the Chicago Symphony.
Good heavens.
Which is incredible.
It is incredible. So progress.
Yeah, so that's on the card. So tomorrow I look forward to hearing him play. Henry's been sending me excerpts of the rehearsals, and he sounds like he's an incredible cellist.
Oh.
So yes, so tomorrow afternoon there will be no missions, and then depending who's well and who's not, we've booked a hut at the prom. Unfortunately, we've booked it tonight and tomorrow, which we can't oblige.
Tonight, no.
Yeah, we have to let it go. It was a whole lot of our friends all going there. And so Kate probably won't make it because someone's got to look after the sickies in the house. But I'll probably go up on Monday morning and just to represent the fam. And
at least you've got school holidays.
Yeah, that's it. So that's what I'll be. I'll be at the prom for most of the week. And probably not back for missions next weekend.
Okay.
Maybe not. So there's a little bit of a picture of things.
Right.
Yeah, so anyhow, Frank, I really did enjoy hearing all those discs yesterday. And
what fun. Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
It was good, and I sat up in bed this morning, and I did sleep in, and I got up and had a look at some more Red Engel tracks. So I've got a half a dozen to play.
Oh, brilliant, because I don't know much of his repertoire.
Yeah, look, it's a very interesting story. He started off as a straight singer. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He was a saxophonist, a clarinetist, and a vocalist. And then he was working with the likes of Gene Goldkett and some of those bands when he was very young. I think he was sort of more in the sort of the youth, the sort of burgeoning musician field and that, just filling in and stuff at that point. But he only joined Ted Weems' orchestra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in about 1931. He was still very young.
Yeah.
And made a few records as a straight singer, which are remarkable. And I'm going to play them a bit later on.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they're really interesting. And then he sort of got the comedic itch, and then joined Spike Jones's band, and was the main sort of. I think he was the energy or a big part of the force, the creative force in Spike Jones's band.
Yeah.
But he only all the big Spike Jones hits featured Red Engel, and then he left them in about 1946 and did his own thing and made quite a lot of records with other musicians like Joe Stafford, and did all manner of things and did lots of touring and did very well, lived in Hollywood and stuff. And
I thought it was terrific to hear Joe in that role.
It's just great. Yeah, he's one of these musicians who, but everything I've read suggests that he was so natively talented that anything he could do, he could transcend, and any musician within his orbit was elevated. One of these people who had that ability to galvanise the performers around him and bring them up to a higher level.
Well, certainly, Joe Stafford hadn't hit the big time, I think, by then.
Sure. Yeah, I just loved hearing those records. So yeah, there's quite a few more. So we'll have another Red Ingle session, I think, and we'll sort of we'll indulge in that a little later on. But notably, another anthology of early Gin Gold Kit recordings, including quite a few Bix recordings, has popped up. I'll save the Bixies to another time because I think we've had enough Bix for the time being. But there's one here that I really want to play. Well, there's a couple actually. This one features a really young Hoagy Carmichael. This is 1927.
Okay.
So 1927, Hoagy Carmichael would have been almost a teenager.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise he was in Gin Gold Kit's orbit, but he made this record in that year, 1927, and it's a song I really like. It's My Ohio Home, and I never had heard this before, but hearing it just a few hours ago for the first time.
Did he write it, do you know?
No, he didn't write it. It was a song that was it's written by one of the big Tin Pan Alley tunesmiths. Yeah. But it was a big hit. Whiteman recorded, a number of people recorded My Ohio Home, but it's a beautiful tune. But he does more of a Sprechstimme here. He sort of a little bit like Ted Wallace. He sort of speaks and sings.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very early Hoagy Carmichael, but a fabulous arrangement with the Gold Cat Orchestra. Immediately after, I think, after the band broke up and then reformed, and this is the reformed band in late 1927. But have a listen. I think you'll enjoy this.
Yeah.
Up in the morning and hear the birdies say good morning, the way they always say good morning in my Ohio home. I want to ramble mid the roses, I know just where to find them roses. I used to ramble mid them roses on my old Ohio home.
There we go. That was a very young Hoagy Carmichael there. And
He sound young.
He did.
Really a boy.
He's just a kid, but he was really in the right circles, and it went from strength to strength. But a great arrangement and a great tune. I really like that tune. There's a famous film which showed up a few years ago, and I can play it because it's got a good soundtrack. It only goes for a minute, and because Whiteman never recorded this, but there was a newsreel made and it's the only film of Bix playing. It features him in the back. He's just very barely visible in the back, but he's there. And so people, Bix fanatics, and there are many.
We highly value that.
Yeah, they do. They all hone in on this little tiny moment where Bix stands up and plays. It's incredible. But they never recorded this, but they recorded the video. And the nature of the video is because I think Whiteman wielded a lot of power in the 20s, and he moved contract from Victor to Columbia, and he did it in a very notable way, where he, at midnight when the contract ran out, he tore it up publicly on the video, on the film, and then began his label with Columbia. And with Columbia, he had his face on the label. It was a color label. It was like he had basically his own label. He was so big that he was able, physically big, and also he was able to sort of have that level of influence back then, which is quite striking. So to sort of officiate that transition between Victor and Columbia, there's a film that captures the moment at midnight, and I think the caption says that this is midnight, and you see Paul Whiteman, he gets up in front of the camera, he rips up the Victor contract, and then begins with Columbia. Ironically, Columbia and Victor amalgamated as a company only about a year later, but that's another story.
That's a lovely drama, isn't it?
It is. It's a point of high drama. So here's that little film. I'll play it, and you'll hear just a snatch of Whiteman Band playing My Ohio Home with Bix. You hear them tuning up first. Here's Whiteman. He opens up the contract, rips it up gratuitously, and claps his hand, and here we go.
That's all there is. There isn't any more.
That's right. Someone's put that little suffix to it there. Yes, there we have it. Just a little snippet of a newsreel snippet of the Whiteman Band, and in that little brass chorus, the brass section stood up, and third cornet in the brass section was Mr. B.
Mr. B, yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. There's a little bit of history. My Ohio Home. I quite like that tune. I like its sort of shape.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, what I might do before we sort of move into another sphere, there is another recording of this is the second generation of the Gold Kit Band, this anthology which came up this afternoon, and it's really interesting to hear. I hadn't heard many of these recordings before. The famous Gold Kit Band was absorbed by Paul Whiteman, and he bought most of the hot players from the band. Gene Colgate went into receivership for a little while, but not for very long. He was bailed out. Then he reformed. I don't know what happened to McKinney's Cotton Pickers, whether they remained, but because he had a white band and a black band both performing at a very big ballroom, the Greystone Ballroom in Detroit. And I'm not sure what happened to the Cotton Pickers, but his own band did, the white band reformed, and I'm not even sure who the musicians were there, although evidently Hoagie was a part of it. Now, if I can find the right spot here, there's a couple of really good tracks, and I'll just play one or two of them here. Here we go. They're hard to find because it's a part of an anthology which is not time-stamped, so it's always a question of trying to find the spot. It's 24 minutes 50 seconds in. And just see if I'm in the right spot there. I'm not sure. I think that's the end of the song before. But the one I wanted... Yeah, that's a good song too, but they're all good. But this next one I wanted to play was That's What Puts the Sweet in Home Sweet Home. Here we go. It's queuing up now.
Every night at 8 she meets me, with a little kiss she greets me. Why, that's what puts the sweet in home, sweet home. And in hand we pass the doorstep, we're in heaven with one more step. That's what puts the sweet in home, sweet home. And when I sit beside and hold by his side, that's when I tell the world I'm satisfied. And when a little blue-eyed laddie says, gee, I love Mom and Daddy, why, that's what puts the sweet in home, sweet home.
So I like that track. I'd love to know who the hot musicians were, but I'll continue. I'll play just one more. This is My Blackbirds Are Bluebirds Now, both recorded in 1928.
day long I sing a song, because nothing's wrong. My blackbirds are bluebirds now. My bad luck's gone on its way. Good luck had to come back to stay. Blackbirds are bluebirds now. I told a little whippoorwill, hold a pretty daffodil. I told a preacher on the hill, wedding Sunday, honeymoon's Monday. Yes, sirree, life's worthwhile. Look up with a great big smile. My blackbirds are bluebirds now.
Oh, fabulous playing. Interesting I was really wanting to find out who the trumpet and the trombone soloists are, and I have established that I was quickly able to run through some check-ins, and the trumpet player was none less than Sterling Bowes, who was a prominent player later on with Tommy Dorsey and Betty Goodman. He worked with Glenn Miller, Bob Crosby, and he was a really important session player.
Okay.
And so Sterling Bowes is a young player on that. That was fantastic trumpet work, and trombone particularly stood out for me, and that was Pee Wee Hunt.
Oh,
and
really?
in the he made a big hit with 12th Street Rag, of course,
huge in the 50s.
in the 50s when he was much older. But that was Pee Wee Hunt when he was in his 20s.
Wow, that's really historic.
It is. It's fascinating. It's just interesting to hear how these musicians' careers are sort of encapsulated through recordings intergenerationally. So, that's an interesting one. All right. So I just felt, an indulgence.
Very good.
Yeah, it's good to hear that.
I just better say this is vk3sl in contact with vk3sl.
Yes.
Crossband duplex.
Yes, absolutely. We are test missioning on 160 and on UHF, that's 438.725, and crossband duplexing on, what is it, Frank? It's, what's your input?
145.04.
That's what it is. Yes, I can see it here. Right. Works beautifully. So, yeah, that's our little, that's our system. And I should mention also that we are on YouTubium, and we are logging back on YouTube again. So live streaming actually on YouTube, and where we log the programs. So I noticed at last count there are about nearly just a smitten under 800 programs on that YouTube channel.
Wow.
And there's about 200 or 300 on the Internet Archive as well. So we've got a presence out there.
Multimedia mission.
That's what it is. So, yay. All right. Well, I'm going to see if I can get those Red Engel tracks all lined up.
Right.
But I was so involved in that last track that I didn't feel
You didn't want to miss the trombone.
I didn't want to miss Pee Wee Hunt playing his trombone solos. That's right. So what can I find in between? I'll see if I can do a lucky dip. See what we've got in front of us here. I've got a pile of records. There we go. Lucky dip. See what comes out of the pile. And we've got here, these are 50s hits. Wow, these would be good, but maybe I should save those for another 50s session, and see if there's something. Gene Krupa, Jungle Madness. That sounds okay. We'll play that, and then I'll line up the Red Engel tracks that I was listening to this morning. So if we can get this in sync, this is the SP10. Get the speed right. Gene Krupa, and his orchestra. Well, there we go. Lots of record wear there. That was a well-loved disc and Jungle Madness with Gene Krupa. Yeah, I'm sure that was Benny Goodman playing on that record too.
Yeah, he's great, wasn't he?
Yeah, sounded like him.
Very fluid.
Yeah, so there we go. That's a little stepping stone. Now, it'd be fun to sort of look at more of Red Ingall's music. I'm quite fascinated by this character. He was a larger-than-life personality.
I had no idea he had this earlier life.
Yeah, and look, have a listen to this. This is his first record. This goes back to 1931. And, we're a recording with Ted Weems and the band, and the name of the track is Nobody's Baby is Somebody's Baby Now. So, a young Red Ingall, but he sings this really sensitively. There's no hijinks in this. It's he is a really well-established vocalist.
Straight singer,
yeah, straight singer. Check it out.
I was so lonesome, just longing for love. You came to me right from heaven above, and nobody's baby is somebody's baby now. I used to sigh when the evening was near. Now I'm so happy when evenings appear, for nobody's baby is somebody's baby now. It seems to me that there should be a sweet somebody somewhere. I'd sit and sigh while time rolled by, but nobody seemed to care. I was so lonesome, so lonesome, so long. You changed it all with a smile and a song, and nobody's baby is somebody's baby now.
Okay, there we have a very early recording of Red Ingle. And he exhibited a certain vulnerability. Oh, sorry, Frank. No, I accidentally had your channel turned off.
I was thinking I'd moved the knob.
No, my apologies. I turned off the wrong the channel
That's
before.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just rekeyed in the frequency.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yes, he exhibited a certain vulnerability, I thought. And,
Yeah, I know.
And there's a softness, a sort of sense of personal investment, I thought, which was rather special.
You can certainly hear that it's the same voice.
Yeah, definitely.
The tonality is there.
Yeah.
But as you say, much softer and the sort of almost vulnerability.
Yeah, I sense that the way he delivered. There's a few others. I'd like to play them. This one's from 2 years later. It's from 1933. He didn't sort of do his big blast comedic stuff until the late 30s. So this one is one of these exemplar Pro-Zoot transfers. It's amazing. It just sounds like hi-fi.
Yeah.
It goes back to 1933, but the name of this track is Sitting Up Waiting for You. Ted Williams and the band with Red Ingle.
High on the shelf, I'm all alone and blue. Always got me waiting, it's so aggravating, sitting up waiting for you. I'm growing thin, I feel all in, old rocking cherries do. And it's all from waiting, so humiliating, sitting up waiting for you. If I keep up these hours, I'll soon waste away. And I'll be getting flowers every decoration day. It ain't right, night after night, to do me like you do. always got me waiting. It's so aggravating, sitting up waiting for you.
A superlative transfer from Prozoot here, and
Incredible stuff, isn't it?
It is really. It's intriguing.
Do you know anything about the techniques he uses? Does he advertise them?
I think he's got pristine copies of everything.
Yeah, I know, but even so, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I think he's got a very good ear for finding the correct equalisation curves.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it, being able to really tweak things.
You can equalise really without sort of changing you're introducing distortion, can't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's obviously found a way to. He understands the technology, and it's he understands the recording medium and its idiosyncrasies, and he's obviously done a lot of testing, and I don't know. He just finds really powerful, remarkable equalisation. Maybe he's using some sort of software that does it intuitively. I don't know.
Does he introduce any reverb? Do you know?
It's funny you mention that, because I was listening today to this very recent upload of. There's a couple of Bix tracks in that Gene Goldkett anthology that came up this afternoon, and the one of them was a very dry recording from 1927, and I swear I heard some reverb there.
Yeah.
But if he does it very subtly.
Oh, well, that's right. But a subtle amount could give a great enhancement.
Yes, indeed. I think that's
in terms of making it sound newer.
Yeah, look, it's a really good point. I'm not aware, it's not immediately obvious to me that the reverb's there, but maybe it's done in a very sort of calibrated way. But no, I'm intrigued by his whole process. I mean, he's got pristine copies, he's got vinyl transfers from masters. Apparently his collection came from an esteemed dance band leader.
Right.
It's the whole collection.
Boy.
Someone who was collecting everything that was available, and just holding personal copies, and perhaps not playing them or not using steel needles and keeping them in pristine condition. And that's the source material. But basically it's all in all, it's a remarkable collection. And his uploads, I think, sort of next to the best I've heard within that realm.
Yeah.
I've heard much better. I've heard remarkable acoustic uploads like what Mr. L does. I mean, I think he does an extraordinary job with his waterfall display approach with acoustic recordings and electric recordings too. But this is interesting. So, there's been quite a lot lately, but from Mr. Prozoot, he's been quite active. He sort of didn't do anything for about 10 years and then suddenly became really active again. But, that's interesting. Now, I'll play another record from just that early phase of Red Ingall's career, and this one's called Juggling a Jigsaw, and I found this in another collector's. It's really hard to find copies of this material that's not processed and hasn't had the life sucked out of it, because I find once that's done, the music just has very little meaning. I just can't. I can't engage with it if it's been equalised in a way that, or noise reduction has been used in a way that stifles the music or suffocates it. It just has
compressed or something.
Yes, that's right. It can be really sort of limiting and very. I find it really frustrating, especially digital artifacts and stuff, as you know we've discussed many times. So trying to find good copies is really hard. There's only about half a dozen collectors who understand the virtue of open-ended sort of and minimal transfer approaches, and but this is the Colin collection, and these are always excellent as well. So yeah, we'll hear another from Ted Weems in 1933. It's called Juggling a Jigsaw, and it features Red Ingle on the vocals.
Jigsaw is easy to do compared to a puzzle like you. And I go crazy juggling a jigsaw. Spending the evening awaiting your call. What else can I do, hon? I'm lonesome, that's all. My mind is hazy juggling a jigsaw. All those little pieces make a beautiful design, but I can't match up pieces of that broken heart of mine. Juggling a jigsaw whenever I move is my only pastime while thinking of you. And I go crazy juggling a jigsaw.
Okay, then we have Juggling a Jigsaw with Red Ingle and Ted Weems back in 1933. Yay. I was just trying to find the original version of Heartaches because apparently...
yeah. I used to love Heartaches.
Yeah, Heartaches was a huge hit in 1947.
I heard it as a kid.
Yeah, it sort of put Ted Weems back on the map. It was a massive hit for him. Now, I'll play the one that we sort of hear very often in 1947. This is the one that sort of really, it was like Ted Williams had sort of more or less evaporated, and then this hit came up, and then he was back on in the map again.
That's the one I would have heard.
Yeah, that was the one that made it really, really big. And but there's also another version that he made in 1933 with Red Ingle. And Red Ingle's, I think, playing in the band, but I think he had a lot to do with the arrangements, and it's an interesting sort of synergy between the two performances, because one picked up on the virtues of the other. But I'll play the later version first. I'll play them back to back, and there'll be a little gap in between while I quickly cue it up. But I will play them back to back. Firstly, the 1947 hit with Ted Weems, and then back to 1933. And I think you might find the 1933 one punches above its weight there. It's really quite an interesting record, and it's interesting to hear how...
Really interested to hear it, because I love the one I used to hear as a kid. It just appealed to me.
Yeah, so look, this is it. The first one from 1933, same band, was it was much more diminutive, but musically very, very astute. Let's go back to 1947 to kick off. Okay, there we
Well,
have.
there wasn't much difference.
There's not a lot of difference. The second version was recorded in 1933. The first version was released in 1947, but I think it was recorded in 1938. But the first version, I just love the driving rhythm, and there are a couple of subtle differences, but yeah, interesting.
Not a world of difference at all. I was expecting something quite more.
Yeah. Basically the same arrangement with just slightly different voicing and...
and the whistling's a little bit...
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that whistling? Is that so? It's someone whistling?
Yes, there is. In fact,
it's pretty remarkable whistling.
It is, and the whistler gets a Guernsey on the label, if I can...
Well deserved, I'll tell you
yes,
what.
I know.
That was really what attracted me as a kid.
Isn't it interesting?
I hadn't heard anything like that.
Yeah, it says here, Whistling by Elmo Tanner.
Because what he's doing the equivalent of a yodel with a whistle. To be able to do that...
Yeah.
Without sliding, and I don't know how you do that. I can't do that. I'm a pretty reasonable sort of whistler, actually.
Sure.
It's one of my few talents.
Yeah.
But I can't do that. That sort of absolutely dead, just going from one note to another without sliding.
He's almost got circular breathing, I wonder.
I don't know, but
how do you do circular breathing whistling, though? I don't know, without disrupting the flow.
I don't think circular breathing's the way to do it. I mean, it's a skill of just shaping your mouth in such a way that, or doing something with your mouth to be able to just like play for one note and then hit another note.
Yeah.
Without instantaneously moving.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes, that sort of attack. It's an articulation issue.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Amazing.
Well, it's got a lot of rhythmic vitality.
Huge. That guitar driving.
I love it. It's great. It sort of anticipates the next era really a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually.
You think of skiffle music and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that was what just carried along, didn't it?
Yeah, it's channeling Nancy Whiskey and
that stuff. Yeah, that's folky. That's right.
Yeah.
And as you say, now that I think about it, the 47 version was a bit stronger in that regard.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating, isn't it, to sort of hear these? And apparently, Red Ingle had a lot to do with the whole concept of that. Apparently, according to his bio. But
it's not a jazzy thing or a
no. No, it's more folky and
or a dance band thing either, really.
No, exactly. It's sort of embracing a folk tradition in a way, and I think that's something that Red Ingle held close to his heart. And a lot of his music sort of parodies, but it does embrace the folk element a bit.
Did Ted Williams ever do remember that old song called Dardanella?
Oh, Dardanella. Yeah, that's a great song.
I know. I'm wondering, for some reason, I'm linking it with Ted. I'm probably
Dardanella. I'll just see if he did it. Ted Weems. I've got to get the spelling right because if I it's WEEMS, not WH. If I put WH, other Weems come into the picture.
Right.
So Dardanella, Ted Weems, correct spelling, check, and... No.
Okay.
I've got lots of Dardanellas. There's heaps of Dardanellas, but I get lots of... Not with Ted Weems.
Okay.
But that's okay. It's a great song. I think Dardanella can also... I know the tune, and it has its own sort of rhythmic impetus as well.
That's another one as a kid that got through to me,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm fascinated by this. Well, look, let's move forward and hear a few of Red Ingle's sort of later generation recordings. All of the classic Spike Jones feature him. He's sort of the mad voice, the crazy vocalist, the comedic figure at the front of the of Spike Jones' band for many years. He actually left in 1946 due to a pay dispute, so I think there must have been a bit of strong egos involved at one point.
Yeah.
But they reconcile. Well, don't think they left on necessarily on the worst terms, but they got back together apparently in 1965.
Oh boy!
And released an album together, but they both died before the album was completed. They both died in 1965, and
they killed themselves in the attempt.
Yes, that's right. I think they were both sort of
knocked each other out.
Yeah, they're both vibrant personalities with health
with health issues. Yeah,
exactly. So. But apparently a couple of recordings from those sessions survive. Now, I was trying to track them down this morning because it would have been so much fun to play them, but they are out there, but I haven't had success with that yet. So that's a good thing because it keeps the topic alive. And
look, it's very well worth hearing if you can find them.
Yeah, they're out there somewhere. They're a part of some sort of other compendium, and
the album itself never got.
The album was never finished. Yet they started it. They made about 2 or 3 recordings, and then they both they died within months of each other. So it's significant that they sort of reformed, having been so closely connected in the 40s.
And they still had that urge to do it.
They felt that connection. So, but anyhow, Red Eagle went out on his own for quite a few years and did all sorts of, and I think it's good that he did because he really had a very distinctive brand, which is quite different in some respects to the Spike Jones thing, which was very much the Spike Jones show, but
the Natural 7 was very unique, really.
Yeah, very much so. And look, I found quite a list of recordings from that group. So here's one called A Cigar Dust, which is a parody on Stardust.
Okay.
So check it out. It's fun.
Bebop be durned, the butter ain't churned.
Now when the purple dust is on the skylight, I'm a-stealing across the matters of your heart. High up in the sky, the little stars climb, reminding me that we was far apart. You blundered down the lanes and wandered far away, leaving me a song that will not die. Love is now the cigar dust of yesterday, the music past my ears gone by. Love is now the cigar dust of yesterday, the music past my ears gone by. Come to think of it, I'm always wondering why I spend the lonesome night dreaming of a song, 'cause my melodies sought a remedy when I'm once again with you, and our love was new and a kiss was insulation. Dagnabbit, that is long ago, and our conversations in the cigar dust of a song. And then beside the garden wall, a star got bright, and you was in my arms, and a nightingale with a feather in her tail, and a pair of dice where the roses growed. Though I dreamed in vain, in my heart it will remain. Cigar dust melody, 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 just a memory of love, careless love, careless love, careless love, love.
Yeah, I wonder what Hoagie would have thought of that.
I was just going to say the same thing. I wonder if he heard it.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he just sort of shook his head and thought, wow, someone's got to do it.
Who does it say is the vocalist?
I can't find that information. I was desperately trying to establish who the female vocalist was without any success. I don't think
Do we know when that was made?
It was. I don't know if it was released. It's part of there's a sort of a list of his recordings, and yeah,
he was terrific
without any other information. So I can't establish the bigger picture there.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Wasn't the vocalist terrific?
Oh yeah, totally.
He was the star of the record.
Joe Stafford apparently appeared under the name of Cinderella G. Stump.
She had a few Nonda records, I think.
I think she might have. Yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
he's just so out there. And everything he did it really well, because it sort of it's reframed the piece. Not only does it sort of parody, but it sort of characterises the piece in a totally different way by changing tempo.
And playing it through the second time, when she did the vocal sort of out of sync with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Or at least, changing the relationship. It was terrific.
It's really effective. It's just pure imagination. What an amazing mind. There's a story here. Oh, I have to read this one out. This after the Temptation success, Ingle had a follow-up in mind, it says here. Take off on the classical works of Paganini, none less. But doing this required a violinist who was trained in classical music. Now, knowing that any direct requests for classical performer would be refused, Ingle dreamed up his own classical ensemble, Ernest Ingle's Miniature Symphony. Was the name of the group. A concert violinist responded and was quickly signed to a recording contract for the intended record. When the musician was shown the arrangement he was to play, he protested and attempted to leave without performing. Ingle and his band quickly reminded the violinist of the legality of the contract he had just signed.
Yeah.
A deal was struck to get the Pagan Ninnies Keep You Goin' Stomp recorded.
Pagan Ninnies.
The Pagan Ninnies, NINNY''S,
Yeah.
Pagan Ninnies Keep Air Goin' Stomp recorded. And the concert performer was allowed to use a pseudonym on the record.
He'd be sorry he ever met me.
Yes, so he got himself caught up in a bit of a twine then, thought he was in for a big gig. Well, he sort of was, because I think this record had some good success, and it's just remarkable. It really is remarkable. So we'll hear it. And Pagan Ninnies Keep...
I love it.
Yeah, it's just, what imagination. Keep Your Goin' Stomp is the name of the track. And this really, really takes the piss. I feel for the poor musician involved. We never know. I tried to find out who it was. I really searched deep, but no way. No one's ever going to put their hand up for this.
He wouldn't have admitted to anyone that
No,
he did it.
he just would have walked out and then become,
Tried to forget it.
Yes, definitely.
Pagan any tall skinny, start to hop and never stop.
fiddle it, Niccolo. Fiddle it, Niccolo. Niccolo, fiddle it, fry it and griddle it, fiddle it, Niccolo now.
Get me out of this! So, ay, 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 ay,
Yeah, he beats Spike at his own game, really, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
That is just so thorough and just amazing. And the poor dude, his name on the label, I found the record. It's he's billed as Niccolo Purnuduk. N-O-O-D-N-I-K, Nudik. So, yes, he got a Guernsey on the label and made a big record, and he's probably an esteemed orchestral leader of the San Francisco Symphony or something.
Yeah.
And we'll never know who it was. Oh, I just think that's just a stroke of absolute genius there on Red Ingle's part.
Oh, so it's amazing. I've never heard anything quite like it.
Yeah, it's just, but it's so well done.
Very virtuosic, actually.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing. He does. It's not sloppy. Often, well, I don't say often, but sometimes,
they just slide around and sort of half mess it up.
Yeah, they do, and it's sort of the looseness is a part of the so-called character.
The comedy, but not so this one.
This is just incredibly sleek. I mean, everything is masterfully messed up. It's just incredible. Yeah,
that's a virtuosic piece to start with.
What it is. It's the perpetual mobile. I mean, God, how do you do it? So
they do the double stopping there.
I know. And all that offbeat
I don't know how you do that.
Well, yeah, it's just a very consummate musician was involved in that. Now, I have to say that Red Ingle, this is another little aside which will just blow your socks off. Apparently, at the age of 5, he was known as a child prodigy, and he had violin lessons with Fritz Kreisler.
Really?
At the age of 5.
Oh my God!
And he got to a really high level on the fiddle, and but other attractions took his fancy, and and there's a film of Red Ingle doing a concerto on one string. I'll see if I can find it in later life, and his bowing technique is unbelievably good. Unbelievable, like a high level soloist level. Yeah. I mean, he was in his 70s or 60s at this stage, and but he's just playing on one string, and he doesn't use other fingers, and it's a part of the whole comedic effect. But yeah, there's a lot there that tells me that there's a really, really gifted fiddle player.
So many surprises.
It's incredible. I'll try and find that track, but while doing so, I'll put another fiddly track called "You Can't Be Fit as a Fiddle When You're Tight as a Drum." It's the name of the track. So another Red Ingle. Back in the day, these tracks are just truly remarkable.
Got home a little late last night, kind of wobbly in the legs. I checked the cuckoo clock on the way to bed to see if there were any eggs.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum. Fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
No, you can't be a big shot when your brain's on the bum.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
I was standing on the corner, kind of peering through the fuzz, when a guy in a car yelled, "Taxi!" I wondered what it was.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum. Fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
No, sir, you can't be a big shot when your brain's on the bum.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
caught a cold the other night, but I think I know what's wrong. The place I went, there was beer on draft. I sat in the draft too long.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum. Fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
No, sir, you can't be a big shot when your brain's on the bum.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
Board turned my water off a month ago, they say. But me, I didn't find it out until just yesterday.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum. Fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
No, you can't be a big shot when your brain's on the bum.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
I spent 10 nights in a bar room. I felt like a millionaire. When I got outside, I said, "What's that smell?" And they told me that's fresh air.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum. Fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
No, you can't be a big shot when your brain's on the bum.
You can't be fit as a fiddle when you're tight as a drum.
The inimitable Red Ingle there, and another crazy tune with perfect comic timing.
Is that on the other side of Perpetual Mobile?
Oh, I don't know. It's a part of a...
Oh, it's a compendium, you said.
Yeah, it
sorry.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a playlist of all these records. I don't know how they were, when they were released. I think they were all came out in the late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
But they're all good fun, and he's just so crazy. I really enjoy artists who can just sort of just shrug their shoulders and just take the piss. It's so refreshing when people don't take themselves too seriously.
Absolutely.
And do it so well. Now I found this part of the Red Ingle show here, and this I think is from the early 60s or late 50s. I think he had a cancer scare. I think cancer ended up getting him in the end, And he basically halved his body weight. He was a big fella in the early days, and then he sort of shows up on these TV specials as a very skinny person.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's on the sort of the demise here. He looks old. He looks old for his age. He's probably my age, and but yeah, he looks like much older.
He lived life to the full.
I think he might have. And anyhow, in this instance, he does this. It's quite like silent film. He does this comedic act with the violin and the rosin, and it's very old world vaudeville. And his comic timing is amazing. It's just remarkable. And so most of that's silent, but I'll cut in at the point where he starts to play, and he's just playing on one string. Just listen to his bow technique. He's just playing on the A string. But check this out. Red Ingle TV special about 1960. Oh, then he whacks the violin against his face and breaks the bridge. But at the end. But consummate violin technique there.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just really incredible. I was watching his bow arm there, and that's the bow arm of a master. So, yes, someone who's... Yeah, I think his left-hand technique probably you'd need to practice many hours a day to keep that in phase. But look, at the same time, I think that was a very clever little comedy stunt there with the band, just playing a one note. Works well. There's more here of the very best of Red Ingle, and this one is called Get Up Off the Floor, Hannah.
Oh, yeah, that's we played that the other night.
Did we play that the other day, do we?
Can we play it again?
Oh, gosh, I forgot.
Get Up Off of the Floor, Hannah, them hogs has got to be fed.
Oh, yes, we did. Sorry. Oh, all right, we'll play it again because I've announced it. So I'd forgotten that we played this, but this is one of his bigger hits, I think. Yes.
What?
All right, check it in.
Sing it sad and play it right, 'cause we got bad news tonight.
Fair Hannah lived on a mountain farm in a lone and dreary spot. No dwelling was for miles around but the one her father got. 'Tis New Year's Eve at the village inn, there's a merry ball tonight. The air is freezing cold above, the hearts are